ZULQAR Cheema, when did you come to Harlow and why?
Came to Harlow, I think, in the early 70s, if not late 60s. My father got a job here at Costa Electronics, which is, I think they had two sites at the time, didn't they? Pinnacles and Temple Fields. And he got a job there, and then he moved from there to here. He got a house, and once he got the house, then moved the family across over near Bushfair.
So where did your father move from?
From Kent, Chatham. I don't know what he did there, obviously, but I certainly remember him coming here and then later on learning it was electronics.
And how old were you?
Let's look, I must have been 9, 10, somewhere around that age.
So were you happy to make this move?
Well, there's no choice at the time. We were moving. I remember we were waiting for the van at Chatham, and you know when you're waiting for something and you're waiting and nothing happens, and then you're dying to go to the loo, and you think, well, as soon as I go to the loo, it's going to turn up. I can vaguely remember going off to the loo and then it turns up, and everything was put into the van, and then we appeared down at this end of town, and we've been here ever since, really.
So what are your earliest memories of living in Harlow?
Swimming pool, going down there on a Sunday afternoon, standing in the long queues trying to get in, putting the little wristbands on, waiting hours, and then getting an hour in there, and they'd shout out the wristband colour, and then you'd have to get out, and then we'd go down to the town park. I can't remember if the little swimming pools were there at the time, but certainly later on in my youth they were there. And we used to wander around there, perhaps go over the bridge, over the railway line, and take a wander along the River Stort.
And what about your father? Your father, what did he do at Cossers?
He was an engineer, tester, I believe. So the equipment that they made, which was mainly military stuff, radar. What else? They must have done something else. Radar. They did telemetry and stuff at the time, I think, but that was then petered out to other companies.
And did you, as growing up, did you develop a sense of interest in IT and electronics? And
I did. I took on electronics as a hobby. Dad got me a soldering iron, and he used to get little bits from work, little transistors and things. I used to make little kits, and he bought me a radionics kit one Christmas, which was a board, which is like a circuit board with holes in, and then you had the resistor components, and you used to put them in and screw them up, and a book with different layouts to produce different things like flashing lights and little buzzers. It's an email. And then from then I used to use the ones that he bought me, make little things and put them into little tic-tac boxes and stuff, and just fiddle around with electronics, really. And
did you have any outlet at school at all to be able to do stuff like that?
Nothing at the time.
Oh.
Nearest was physics, and which was not really, was more at the bottom end of it, which is how it all worked, whether as opposed to putting things together and making components talk to each other and doing things. So things like walkie-talkies, things which weren't legal at the time, but I had managed to make transmitters and send them over to my FM radio, light-sensitive devices, so that it would come on when the lights went dark, or sending audio transmissions via light. A bulb that used to flicker and a little sensor that used to pick it up.
So leading on, where was your first job?
First job was a newspaper round, which on a Saturday I think it was, and you used to go around, deliver all around the area. So, and then looking forward to collecting your 50p or a pound or whatever it was in them days. And that's, no actually I tell you, like before then I went potato picking. There used to have a vehicle used to come round, and you used to be able to get on it if you wanted to go. But I spent the whole day pea picking, all day filling up a sack, and I thought, no, it's got to be something better than this.
Was it far from Harlow, just on the outskirts?
I can't remember where it was. I remember vaguely going on and being a long day, and we used to have this coach come round. I don't know if anyone else remembers, on a Sunday. Not delivering, but you could go in it and buy stuff, because on Sunday in them days the shops were all shut. But this coach used to come round, used to stop, you could go in there and get some bread or sweets. It used to disappear a long time ago, actually. I forgot about him.
And what about your first job, after your first full-time job?
first full-time job, I think it was Cossers.
Right, so you, not
I did
the
get
family
into
firm, but you
yeah, I
went
went in
followed
there as a trainee wireman
right.
from Cossers.
Any idea what year this might be?
It had been about 75, 76. And then from there, used to wire stuff, what's known as Harlow 8, which is gone now, which is by the shops, which is also where the Industrial Health Service used to be. So I think now it's an Indian restaurant. And we used to be in that area. And I was in there for years doing wiring. And then a vacancy appeared in the installation department. And I went over there, and that's where you travelled and installed the equipment. So it's still the same, but doing it out. So I managed to get to see quite a bit of the world without having to pay for it. And travel and save some money, because obviously I wasn't at home to do that. And that was exciting.
Where did you see? Where did you go?
I went to Cyprus, Akrotiri, to Holland, Belgium, Dubai, and some far-flung places in the UK. Tyree, right at the top of Scotland on the left. Tyree's further down. I can't remember the name of it now. Wherever there was radar sites.
Like Machrihanish and Cape Wrath and
No, right up the top.
Yeah.
Shetland.
Shetland, right,
Shetland's
okay.
up the top there. And they've got a radar site there, so we went in there to do it, and Tyree had a little radar site. In fact, Tyree was just a little island with one road going round, with the road coming off for the ferry, and a little one for the plane. And we spent months on there doing work. Ireland was another place we went to quite a lot. Used to get the ferry across from Rosslare, I think, to Cork at the time. And that was about the time the shuttle arrived. The NASA shuttle. I was doing that sort of work.
A lot of people, we're into our 10th month of these Harlow 70 interviews, and a lot of people lay great stress on their work, from Pitney Bowes, Key Glass, Shenville Press, Dorstall Press, BP, and Cossers is mentioned quite a lot. Did you enjoy your work? Was it just a job, or did you actually enjoy and sense a community?
No, it was when you work with people full time, obviously you build relationships with them, and you have to work with people even if you don't always like them. And we used to take the mick out of each other all the time. That's how it works really. And we, people go to the loo. Some will take ages to go for some reason, and we had it with a newspaper saying, "Oh, Fred's in trap 2. Don't go in there." And in fact, when I joined, I did the usual training. I did the tea making for everyone. And I think I spent 2 or 3 years doing that till I complained to the foreman. I was fed up with making tea for everyone. And there was a guy that used to hang his tea bag up afterwards, let it dry so he could reuse it. And that sort of stuff, would prompt good conversation and riveting. But I enjoyed it there. I got to know a lot of people there, made a lot of friends, did a lot of socialising with them, and used to go out in the evenings. And Cossers, in fact, had a social club over at, it's all gone now, isn't it, over that area? There was another social club over there as well. I can't think what that one was. Was that Pitney Bowes? Or
There's Johnson Matthey.
Johnson Matthey. Yeah, you used to drive up the road, and then there was a first one. You went past that one, and Cossers was on the end.
Yeah. Here you are looking at, a camera looking at you, but you've often developed an interest in being behind the camera and filming. Where did that come from?
Oh, really? Photography is where I started.
Right.
Back in the 80s, I guess. 79, somewhere around there, the Pateco, which I think is still up there actually. Film camera. And used to use that, so anywhere I went, to take photographs. Unlike today, you used to take good photographs because you only had 20 or 25 shots, and so you had to make them count, and then you may not see them for months, and then you get the memories back, or they'd all be rubbish or dark because you'd cocked up the aperture. They weren't automatic, obviously. And then from there it moved to video, maybe in 88, somewhere around there when VHS came out, and then from there to obviously to where I am now.
Going back to photography for a second, what do you, in your opinion, what is the value of a good photograph above all else?
It's one that's pleasant to look at. and invokes memories. I realise a lot of kids now, they do selfies. And I just avoid selfies. Because when you want to look at a photograph, you know who the person is. You've met the person, you know them. You don't really want to see them with what you want to know is what on earth is behind you. Where are you? And all you see is a big face and a little bit of scenery, and you don't really get, I would say, is a good-looking photo. You get a picture of someone, but really a good-looking will have a nice bit of composition. It'll show a bit of depth. So you put something close, something in the distance, so you can see how big something is. Because you'll get. I used to have some photos back on my camera that someone had taken, and there'd be a plane flying over it, and they'd have taken a picture of it because it looked bigger in their mind. But when you got it back, it was this little spot on the photos, which were from TruePrint, by the way, because you got those extra 2 prints.
Wow.
Remember, you used to cut them, and you used to get the 2 like little ones, like the passport type photos. So it's really getting that composition, and it's one of those things you just have to watch and learn. And I was self-taught, and I used to develop my own. I used to do black and white as well.
And your film, you must have. Do you have quite an archive of film, around Harlow from the 80s?
Loads,
Yeah.
loads. Photos as well, probably in the loft. But to get them all out and scan them would just take too much. I did offer the Harlow Museum if they wanted to give a hand and digging through the tapes and going through and grabbing the information. Some of it's on the website that on my own. That's when I found some, I put some up there. But a lot of the stuff started mainly about 88, 90, which is the video stuff, and that was through hospital radio. So I did that for many years. Did that for a little period of time, stopped because I then worked away, so I couldn't do the commitment. And then a good friend of mine, Tony Saxby, invited me back again, and I went back in, and as the engineer, I used to fix and repair stuff and design stuff. We used to do the outside broadcasts, and I used to film a lot of those events. So I used to wander around with it, and there weren't small cameras then days. There were big shoulder things. So it's not saying inconspicuous. So and then we used to wander around, and I think I got stuff for the town show, some of the little shows. I don't know if anyone's mentioned the little mini shows that you used to have at the Stowe, the field round the back there where the car park is, the new car park. That field there, and some of the other areas.
And why do you think, in your opinion, I mean, here we are filming you in 2017 as part of an important archive of people in Harlow, Why do you think taping, recording history, why do you think that recording history is important, especially for a town like Harlow?
It just reminds you of what things were like in the past. When you look at black and white photos now of the last century, you look at it and your imagination thinks, I wonder what it was like. And you can see photos of Harlow where there's practically no houses and there's horses and stuff, and you think, well, how did they survive? How did they manage? How did they live? What sort of work did they do? What sort of conditions did they live? And it just makes you appreciate what you've got now. You can go in there, turn the hot water on, turn the heating on, shut the door and keep it nice and warm. Whereas in them days it probably...
I guess my next question would be, where did you develop this sounds too much of a technical question, but where did you develop your sense of community? Because you are seen as a major figure in the Harlow community.
So just the desire to help others, really. I haven't had a rich life or anything, but I've had a nice life, and sometimes people haven't got that, and it's just nice to be able to help people to have a nice life without having to go through the drudgery of it all.
So I guess make specific reference to Berecroft. They have the Berecroft Residents Association, is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, how did that come about, and how did your involvement come about?
Well, I've lived here since the early 80s, so I've been here quite a long time. The estate had slowly sort of gone downhill, really, from an aesthetic point of view. The houses were getting on. I think they were built in about early 70s, somewhere around that time. And then from what I can gather from some of the people who've lived here that long, that in order to get one of these properties you had to earn a certain amount of money to get in there. So it's in I think about 97, maybe 98, the council decided that and the residents decided that something needed to be done. At that time, I believe Fernhill and the Casbah and places like that were also being refurbished. But they looked into Berecroft and they'd either run out of funding or they couldn't afford it. Mainly because there was white asbestos on the properties, and they feared that was going to cost quite a bit of money. And there was a new initiative out from the government at the time for the new type of housing association, which was a lot leaner and cleaner than it is now. Actually, it's gone big and fat again. And it was more reactive to the locals, and it was quite quick and fast. And then we had loads of meetings, etc., on how and the best way to go forward, and that was the way that was eventually taken. Most of the information on the website, so you can find that and what happened about the vote, etc. While that was going on, the Residents Association was set up by myself, Pat Alderton, and Penny, who's now passed away. Between us, well, actually more the girls than me, I was more pushed than jumping in. And between them, we managed to get the Residents Association together, become coherent, and then put in requests, demands for people who couldn't make and attend meetings, which is how we managed to get hold of 65 Berecroft as part of the deal in doing that. And then from then on, we've just done and run events. Then Pat died, maybe passed away 6 years ago maybe, and then Pat, I think, moved on 5 years ago. So I've been there since. Jackie helps me now, and there's a few others. Frank, who does the warden, and we just keep. We're just a low, we're just in the background there, but we still run. Like we've got the Halloween coming up, which we've run for a good few years now, and we've got the football at the back there that we've been running with the hard standing that we've done. We've got lights up there for the kids in the evenings so they can carry on playing.
So, sorry to ask, it sounds like a technical question, but what is the purpose? What do you think is the purpose of the Residents Association?
I think the original purpose, is to bring everyone together and make sure that, like a union, I guess, to make sure that when we was having this conversion done, that we weren't going to have the rug or something pulled out underneath us. But it's really to try and bring the communities together, which is really becoming harder and harder. People sort of staying in their houses much more, becoming weary of people outside, even if they're your neighbours. Sometimes you have neighbours you don't see for ages. Along this road, there's people very rarely see. And I lived here since the 80s. So it's really trying to bring that together, and the Halloween brings the kids in. And if you bring the kids together, it means that there's going to be hopefully less disputes going on because they all know each other. When we had our PCSOs, that really did bring everybody together, because there was a focal point and there was some sort of power there as well.
And when we'll get on to the Queen's Award in a second, but you made that point, I think, when that award was making, about the importance of the PCSOs. So we're now veering onto the political part of this interview, but you think do you mourn the loss of your PCSOs?
Yes, I think it was a great loss. It was obviously to save money, but I think in the long run it doesn't save any money. All it does is push whatever they would have paid the PCSOs to the other authorities. So whereas we could rely on our PCSO to sort our issues and problems out or help us in times of need, we've got no one to sort that out now. We have to go to the relevant authority to try and get that done. So whether it be Harlow Council, because of the dumping of the rubbish, so they're now having to remove more and more rubbish, whereas before we could have nipped that in the bud and got it done, and the council don't have those resources. So now we may ring a policeman because there's a bike on the estate that's riding around. We know we're not going to get a response, and so in most cases people give up and don't bother anymore.
I mentioned the Queen's Award. Was that a complete surprise?
Yes and no. I mean, someone did come down. I can't think who. Someone applied for it, and they came down and interviewed us. We didn't know whether he was going to get it, obviously, and so it was a surprise in the fact that we got it. But we knew we'd been put in for it, and that was last year, and there was a good turnout for that. The PCSO came down. He was living in Cornwall. He made that journey all the way down, and in fact, when he left, there was a massive turnout on the day he left, and there was cakes were made and things were given, gifts were given. So it was a good a surprise, but we didn't get any money. That's what we really need, money, because we can't. When we run events, they don't take a lot of money because I'm tight with money, but we do need some money. With the football that we run, we used to pay one of the local kids who'd done his examinations, who used to play football with us when he was younger and then moved into that role. And when you get someone who moves into that role and the kids know him, it sort of gives them some incentive that they can work their way up and become those type of people. But because then we haven't got the funding now, it's gone. You lose that, and the kids become a bit lost.
You're still out filming though, aren't you? I think last time I saw you was at Linkfest. You still enjoy doing things like that?
I still do enjoy doing that, yeah. It's part of, again, history, isn't it? It's a record of the events that go on. And I've got, if you go back to the 70s, when we used to have the big festivals in the town park.
Did you go to any of those concerts?
I did, and I've got some photos somewhere.
Who do you remember? We've gone way back now, I was going to conclude here, but we've gone back. Who do you remember?
Caravan, Basic Rollers, Eddie and the Hot Rods, and a few other bands that were at the time, but I can't remember now. And when that was every Sunday, no, Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday night. Sundays was for the oldies. That was Joe Loss and stuff like that. And that used to be an afternoon, and that was a great town. I don't remember any trouble.
So as Harlow, in conclusion, you pleased with the role you've played in Harlow's history in that way? You may say you've just been doing jobs, but
well,
I'd say
because I'm just doing what I enjoy.
Yeah.
The fact it's made me, or it integrates me into the history. It is, I suppose, a nice thought, but that's not the reason that it was done. It was just done to make other people's lives more enjoyable. So try and bring people together. Because if you live in a place like we do here, then it's only right that you look after the place where you live and make it nice and accessible. Just like when someone comes into your house, you like to have a nice house. They don't think you're some kind of slob with rubbish all over the place.
ZULQAR Cheema.